Okay, folks, welcome to the first lecture in the maths module. So in this lecture, we're going to take a look at some of the real basics. Everything we do in this module is geared towards science. So we'll be looking at Greek letters, looking at BODMAS, and what I think is most important is plus and minus. This is where all the mistakes are made. Before we get into the lecture though, guys, there's just a little bit of housekeeping I kind of have to go through. So if you're emailing staff, not just me, any staff at all, please put your course code in the title. So say you're saying, I have a 6 cert for missing a practical. Then put the course code either at the start or at the end. And the course code, guys, there's 3 departments, and in maths you're actually grouped by department. So you're either in the Department of Life Science, Environmental Science, or Health Science. So you'll probably know this yourself at this stage. Now, if you're in Biomedical Science, the course code BM1. MedBio, MB1. Forensic Investigation and Analysis is FA1. So these guys are the core codes that I group the Moodle page by. So these are how you'll know which quiz is appropriate to you, which tutorial you're going to. But I have the Moodle page as well that you can't really go wrong, that you can only see the stuff that's appropriate for your group and you don't see everyone else. So every time you see a quiz, there's actually 2 or 3 more quizzes parallel to that one. Also, if you want to be really nice to your lecturer, you might even write in whether you're in level 7, level 8. So your email message might be 6 cert, just 6 cert. And then you'd go FA1, so the lecturer knows you're in first year, and then level 7. So that way, guys, we know straight away who we're dealing with, because what you guys don't realize is most lecturers have hundreds of students. I think I have 420 students this semester, all online. So it's really important I know who I'm talking to, and the same goes for all my colleagues. So this is to help speed up the process for you guys as well as for us, because we always try and look after the first years first, because you guys need the most settling down at the start. Second, third, fourth years know the system and they're a lot more comfortable to wait a little bit longer for a response. So if you're in pharmaceutical science, PH1, level 7, level 8, I'll move on. ESE1 for the environmental science. Again, there's 3 levels in this. And again, guys, you can move between levels. It's just to achieve a certain level and then you just move up, move down. So most people don't move down, most people move up levels if they decide to, but there's no difference. We treat you all the same. Health and safety. This is the one that isn't intuitive, and I had an email about this today. Health and safety is SA1, has been for years and still is, thankfully. So I sent an email out to those guys saying I check your course code is still SA1. Higher Cert in Science, Bachelor in Science, again, here's our course codes. And then for the Department of Health, HP1, again, write in your level if possible. But really the HP1, that's all we need to see. We just need to see the program and the year. So these are all programs, guys. Each of these is called a program. And each subject then is called a module, just to kind of get you used to some of the logic language. Each half year is called a semester. You mightn't be used to that. So there's 2 semesters in IT Sligo. Some colleges like Trinity have 3 semesters. It's kind of a more classic system. And human nutrition then, guys, is HN1. So there's your course codes. Please put those in the title of your email, guys. It'll really speed up the process. And I hope my colleagues thank me for asking you guys to do this, because I think it's a really good idea. It just allows us to know straight away who we're dealing with. And if we need to find any information, we're not emailing you back going, what group are you with? What year are you in? Etc., etc. Those 3 letters, or 2 letters and a number tell us everything. So thanks for that in advance. Other thing, guys, is when you're doing the CA tests, I had over 100 students in a room last semester, just before COVID. taken the CA tests with their phone. So they'd come into their lectures and I'd open up the tests in the lecture. So I've been using this model before, but with face-to-face students. So I know it works well, and that's why I'm making you guys do it. But you can use your phone. So just 1 or 2 people are emailing me saying the broadband is a bit weak in their area. If you can get a half decent phone signal, you'll be able to use Moodle. Don't use the Moodle app. This was something we found with the big groups. The Moodle app seems to just add an extra layer of confusion and slows the whole process down. Don't use the Moodle app, guys. Just go, as I think I have it here. No, what I was saying, maybe, set my Moodle page as a shortcut onto your phone. And then you're not going, search IT Sligo, Student Hub, Moodle, Dave's course. If you put my course as a shortcut, you go straight in. You'll be able to go straight to your CA test, and then you can use your phone. You can use the little writing function. You can use your finger if you want to kind of write in your answers, etc. We're working on the tutorials, guys. This is a whole new model for us. We used to have you guys coming in all the time. So this online version, we still have a lot of sorting to do, but by next week, the 12th of October, we'll be starting tutorials and we'll inform you how that'll run. What we're hoping to do is make every timetable slot a live tutorial. So you guys will actually, now there's no obligation to attend. If you're happily cruising along, you don't have to attend tutorials. You might meet some second years. I used to be really strict on attendance, but again, that's when we used to have face-to-face teaching. So if you meet some people and they say, oh no, Dave is really strict on attendance, you don't have to attend tutorials. They're purely voluntary. What we imagine will happen is if you're stuck on a problem, take a photo of it, and then you'll post it up in OneNote into the right little folder, and then at the next tutorial, either myself or Akin will talk you through it. And you can join live, or else if you can't join live, the solution will remain on the OneNote page. So at least you can go in and check and your question will be answered, even if you actually can't join the tutorial. This is what we're hoping for, guys. I think we can make it work, but there's a lot to do. There's 300 of you guys as well. So if you want to find these things, Teams and OneNote, if you're a bit like, oh, what are these? How you find these, guys, is this is from my email page. And up here in the top corner, you'll see the 9 dots. So if you click on that, that brings you into the Microsoft apps. And as a student of IT Sligo, guys, you're automatically part of the Microsoft Office 365 package. So when you click on this button, you can only do it from your college Outlook, not from home. You won't get these. And these apps will appear. And here, guys, is where we'll be able to talk to you on Teams. And then we'll bring you to the OneNote page. And that's where we can, we'd share the OneNote page, and that's where we can write as well as talk. So that's the plan. We hope it'll work. But just that's where you'll find these packages as well. Click on the 9 dots here. So that's it from the general stuff point of view. Now I'll get into more general stuff, but specific to the lectures. We won't go through this, guys. This is just for the first lecture. So things to remember, what you need to get from this lecture. First of all, get yourself some free time. That's the most important thing. So you don't want to be watching TikTok or, trying to get your kids' dinner ready or whatever. You need just 45 minutes or so with a pen and paper, ideally no calculator. And on the lecture, you need to find the password for the CA test. So if you watch the introductory video, you're aware of this, but you need that password in order to get into the test. Take clear notes, guys. So you will need to take some kind of notes. How you take them is up to yourself. But I always find myself when I was in college, I used to always take bullet points. It's a personal thing, maybe. I was kind of thinking as I wrote it, oh, this works for you, Dave, but mightn't work for other people. But just it's something to kind of go, you're just like, okay, but Dave is talking about Greek letters, blah, blah, blah. And then just, okay, this was one quick point. Here's another. I need to know, blah, blah, blah. My writing is terrible when I write like that. Sorry, it's the pen as well. This pen isn't, it's grand, but my writing is bad. So one thing, guys, I'll point out the techniques that students normally struggle with. I always do this in class. So just pay special heed when I kind of say, look, this is a mistake people commonly make. Just pay heed, maybe take a little note, watch for da-de-da. So at loads of times during the video, guys, you'll see the little pause signal coming up. So what I'm saying there is just pause the video, get your pen and paper and try the technique before you watch me working it out. It just makes the whole thing more interactive, but most importantly, guys, that's the most effective way to learn. And this is the way I used to always run my lectures. I'd go through an example and then I'd put another one up and you guys would work through it, and then I'd kind of work through the correct solution. So I just need you guys to really, that's why I'm saying, even though the video might be only 30 minutes long, give yourself 45 minutes. I'm going to try and keep the videos as brief as possible, just to kind of, because there's support videos up on Moodle as well to give you, you know, where I go through the techniques in more detail. There's also notes going up as well, guys, if you prefer a kind of even more classic version, textbook style, and I'll work through different problems there. So I hopefully between the lectures, the support videos and the notes, everything you need for this module is on that Moodle page. Also in the lecture, guys, you'll see these questions labeled like this. The first number, guys, is to do with the lecture. So this is lecture 1. So any questions that are important on this lecture are labeled like this. In the next lecture, they're going to be labeled 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, etc. You must try them, guys, because I'll be testing them in the CA test. And also keep a record of all your answers. So you need to keep neat notes and keep a record of your solutions and your answers. Because sometimes, guys, I might ask you not just for the answer to a question, but something from halfway through the question. So just be careful on that. Remember, at all times, guys, I'm kind of conscious of you guys using calculators when you shouldn't. So I'm always going to be trying to kind of hone in. Did you do the work or not? That is what I'll always be testing, both in the CA tests and in the end of module assessment. I'm at this 25 years as well, guys. I'm pretty good at it too. So just be warned. So do what I tell you to do and we'll all be friends. Keep your notes neat and tidy as you'll need them for the end of module assessment. So what I'm planning there, guys, is to ask you, maybe I haven't decided how many, say 10 questions. What's the answer to question 3.5? What's the weight requirement in question 5.4? So the final answer might be something about density, but halfway through the question you'd have had to calculate the weight, and that's what I might look for. So that's the way it'll kind of work, guys. I won't be writing out the question. In the test, I'll just say, what's the answer to this? What's the answer to this? You need to go back through your notes. You won't have time to go back over them again in the test. So what I'll be testing in this is, did you do the work? So, and it's not going to be a huge amount of work, guys. Don't be freaking out. It's going to be probably 4 or 5 of these a week. You have your little CA test. The CA test is much more about, did you watch the video? And then, guys, you have the Moodle quizzes, which you can just bash away at. So you should be giving yourself 2 hours a week of just practicing maths. And then you watch the lectures in on top of that. If you need to go to the tutorials as well, please do. There's also the Maths Drop-In Centre. I'll be putting up more information about the Maths Drop-In Centre. Kevin sent me a little video, so I'm going to be posting that up under the Dolphin. So I'll keep going, guys. This is going on a little bit longer than I planned. I might do it in 2 separate videos, we'll see. No, I'll keep going. So again, why are we doing this? So this was one of the classic problems, guys, where people screwed up plus and minus pretty badly. The Laufenberg Bridge. So Germany and Switzerland agreed to build a bridge over the Rhine, and they both started from their own shore. The problem was, though, each country actually used a different reference level. The mean sea level was actually different in both countries. I think Germany used the North Sea and Switzerland used something else. So, but they knew there was a difference. They knew they were working off these different sea levels, and they knew there was a difference of 27 centimeters between those levels. But someone on one side or the other, I'm not sure, made a little error with the plus and minus. So instead of one side might have decided, okay, we need to lower ours by 27 centimeters. So that we're the same side as Germany. So say the Swiss might have said that we need to lower. Instead of minusing all their figures, they actually plussed 27 to all their figures. So when the bridge was actually built, this is a very rough drawing. Here's Switzerland. Here's Germany. When the bridge was built, it actually looked like that. There was nearly a 2-foot gap in height between the two of them. Germany made most of the reparations, so you get the feeling the error might have been on their side. So simple error, guys, but cost of millions. So first thing, guys, is Greek letters. This is kind of in memory of an old colleague who we developed the course with a long time ago. And he was always insistent that scientists should know their Greek letters, and it was the first thing he used to always teach. So Greek letters appear everywhere in science. There's a full list of them on Moodle. I'm not going to get into it now. There's a quiz on Moodle. It's pretty straightforward, guys. Have a look at the list. Have a look at what the question is asking you, and go from there. Just at the moment, guys, to get you into the idea of it all, just remember these ones. So the pause button will be appearing shortly, so write these ones down. Alpha, pi, mu is very important as a scientist, guys, because that's the symbol for micrometer, microliter. Theta, used a lot in trigonometry. We won't be doing so much trigonometry, a little bit. Rho, guys, is important for physics. It's a measure of density. Lambda occurs in several different guises in science. Delta means change in. So change in temperature is often called delta T. So that's a very important symbol for science, Greek letter. And then, guys, for anything to do with statistics, this means the sum of, and this means the standard deviation. So they mean completely different, even though it's the same letter, sigma. We've got the capital means the sum of something in statistics, and sigma means the standard deviation. So it's very important. You don't really want to be talking to one of your colleagues going, oh, it's a little symbol-y looking thing. It looks like an upside down Y. You want to say lambda. You need to sound like a professional. Fake it till you make it is what my sister used to always say to me. So just write these down, guys, because you'll be tested on them. BODMAS is simple in a way. It's easy to trip up on. People often fall into various traps. So just have a wee go at this problem here, guys. Again, just pause the video. Don't get your calculator. Just write out the answer, and we'll talk about it then. So what's going on here, guys, is really, if you look at it, there's actually two ways the problem could be solved. You could just read it from left to right and say 3 minus 6, that's minus 3, and then divided by 2, and that'll give us minus 3 over 2, and we could write that in a few different ways like this. Now, I get into all of this in a lot more detail as we go through it. So that's one possible answer. I forgot my minus, very bad mistake. Just checking that I haven't made a mistake, guys. I make mistakes quite a lot, so I have a healthy paranoia about my own maths, which you should have as well. So that's one possible answer. The alternative way, guys, is to actually do this bit first. Now we've got 6 divided by 2, which is 3. We've got 3 minus 3, and our answer is 0. So now we've got two different answers. Not forgetting my minus again as I'm... And which one is correct? Well, to sum up, guys, the second one is correct. So there's actually an order. If you're not told otherwise, I'm writing in the brackets, which is kind of part of the thing. But if there's no order given, guys, if there's no, there's an order into which we do our calculations. And in this case, division is always done before subtraction. So we'll take a look at the list. There's a little bit of discussion in it. So there's brackets anywhere where you see brackets. So that's why I was drawing brackets around things, guys. It's really to say I'm doing this first. This is my priority. And that's exactly the way maths works. Anything in brackets has to be worked out first. So if there's a little squared or anything outside, it doesn't matter. You must work out this bit first. Then any operations, guys. Operations is essentially anything that isn't addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. That's the easiest way to describe it. It's everything else is an operation. Then we have division, multiplication, and then we have addition and subtraction. What's really important here, guys, and I'm going to discuss this a lot more in lecture 2, is these guys are actually on the same level because they're just the inverse of each other. Multiplication is the opposite of division. So they're really the same thing, just going different ways. Similarly with addition and subtraction. So really this list should look like do the brackets first, then do any operations, then multiplication or division, and then addition or subtraction. And this is where some of the different spellings come out of. Sometimes people put the D first and that gives you BODMAS. Other people put the M first and that gives you BOMDAS. But the main thing, guys, is these are actually on the same level. And I'll discuss that more in detail. So we'll take a look at a typical problem. So here we have an example. And first of all, I see brackets, but there's nothing to be done inside here. So it's okay. I could just have wiped out the brackets. But now, guys, we can see there's minus, there's subtract, divide, squared, and plus. So squared, guys, is an operation. So the brackets is sorted. I could just really, sorry, I'll write that a bit more neatly. I could really just write that as 2 squared. This is the first thing I'm going to work out. 2 squared, 2 by 2 is 4. And now, guys, I've got my subtract, divide, plus. The next thing I'm going to do is the divide. That's the next highest on my list. So I got rid of the brackets that they just removed. Then I did any operations, the squared. So now division is next on the list. 16 divided by 4 is 4. And now I've got 20 minus 4 plus 5. I always add my positive values first, guys. This is just a good habit to get into. So we've got 25 minus 4. So my answer there is 21. Here's a problem, guys, for you to try. So I'm just going to carry on. You guys need to pause the video here and try this, write your answer and record your solution. Because I might just say, what's the answer to this part here? What's the answer to the bit inside the brackets from question 1.1? That bit. So be aware of the questions I can ask you, guys. I'm always going to be checking, did you do the work? Now, guys, to me, this is the most important topic of this semester. This is where all the marks are lost, and they're usually lost for people making simple errors. Exactly like the guys building the bridge, just not paying attention. It's never due to a lack of at the start it's often due to a lack of understanding, but once you figure out what's going on, guys, it's usually just not being kind of meticulous as you go through your calculations. So really, we're back to this idea of BODMAS again, is that there's two pairs of operations. There's addition and subtraction, and there's a set of rules of plus and minus for addition and subtraction when you're adding or subtracting positive and negative numbers. Then there's another set of rules if you're multiplying or dividing positive or negative numbers. So the first thing you always got to ask yourself is, when you're looking at two numbers, are they just been subtracted or are they been multiplied? That is the most important question you gotta answer. Once you've decided that, well, now you can go to the right rule set to figure out what you do. And you know both of these guys, but I'm trying to get you to define the two of them when you start the problem. Which am I doing? And then you're far more likely to do the right thing. So if you're asked to add or subtract positive and negative numbers, think of a number line. Addition moves the value to the right, subtraction moves the value to the left. So if we have something like this, 3 minus 4, we start at 3, minus 4 brings me back 4 steps. I know, guys, this is really obvious, but this is where the mistakes are made. Similarly, minus 4 plus 1. Start here, minus 4 plus 1. I move forward 1 step. That's minus 3. So just, guys, I know it's simple. This is where the errors lie all the time, again and again and again and again. So I don't kind of be blasé with this. This is where you're going to lose marks. So now, guys, have a quick go at these. Pause the video, and I'm going to fly through them now really quick. Here's my number line. 0 minus 3, 0, back 3 steps. I'm going to be at minus 3. 4 minus 3, 4, again, back 3 steps. I'm now at 1. Minus 3 plus 6, minus 3 plus 6, I'm moving right, 6 steps. I'm now at plus 3. And then minus 3, minus 2, so minus 3. And now I'm subtracting, so I move to the left 2 places, and my answer is minus 5. So the thing is, guys, in science, we don't come across problems like this that often. We tend to come across them when they're written as powers. And that's where people get caught up. This is still going to be 10 to the power of minus 8. Moving on. Hope you saw that, kids. If not, rewind. So that was addition and subtraction. Now we're going to take a look at multiplication and division. So if the signs of each term are alike, the same, then the result will be positive. So like signs, or if the signs are the same, your answer is always going to be positive. And I know you're like, well, okay, what do you mean? Say here, minus 3 by minus 1. They're being multiplied. Sometimes you might get brackets like that, guys. Sometimes you might just get 2 brackets. Minus 3 by minus 1. The signs are the same. My answer is always going to be plus 3. And it's far more important in science, guys, that you get the sign right than the number. So the sign is much more important than the value. And maybe watch the video on plus and minuses as well, guys, and I go over a few examples just demonstrating the differences. Here we have 2 values being divided. Again, a lot of people think this is a negative. This is where a lot of mistakes are, guys. They're being divided. If the rules apply for multiplied, they apply for divide. Signs are the same. My answer is still positive. And it's still 3. If the signs are different, then your answer is negative. So if you have a plus and a minus together being multiplied or divided, your answer is always negative. Here we have a minus by a plus. My answer is always a minus. Here we have a minus divided by a plus. My answer is still a minus. So this applies to all multiplication and division. And again, guys, it's in the powers and stuff like that where the mistakes will happen. Be aware of the double negative, guys. How you'll recognize this is the two signs are together. Or sometimes you'll do a problem and you'll end up with 5 plus minus 4 and you'll be scratching your head. Don't worry. It's the exact same thing. These are being multiplied. In this case, this is going to become 3. The signs are alike. Plus 1. Here, guys, the signs are different. So this just becomes 5 minus 4. So anytime you see two signs right beside each other, they might be separated by a bracket, but if there's no number between them, you're multiplying your signs and the rules I've just discussed applied. Another way to think of it, which sometimes people prefer, is it's like you're removing, say if you have €3 and you owe your friend €1 because you borrowed it to buy a sandwich or something the day before. And he comes up to you and he goes, oh, I just found 20 quid. So I let you off with that euro you owe me. So if you're having a debt, that's a debt, that's the euro we owe, but now it's been removed. It feels like you're now a euro richer. So again, guys, this is where the mistakes are made. Cannot emphasize it enough. And you're going to fall into these traps as well. And I still fall into these traps 20, 25 years into the game. It's just the nature of the beast. And we just always kind of, anytime you see minuses, a little alarm bell should start ringing in the back of your head. And you go, am I adding these or am I multiplying them? And that'll at least set you on the right path. That's just what I was saying about the double negatives. So now, I'll fly through these. You guys pause, have a quick go. I'm going to fly through them then. So pause here. And then after this, guys, there's a question for you to do. And I think we're at the end then. So now you've finished paused. You have your 6 answers written down. First one, guys, minus by a minus. It's going to be a plus. 2 by 5 is 10. Plus 10. It's not necessary to write the plus, guys. I'm just writing it here for emphasis. So normally you just write 10. And anytime you see 10 with no sign in front of it, you know it's a plus 10. B, this is a plus, just like I was saying. Plus by a minus is a minus. 4 by 1 is 4. Minus divided by a minus is a plus. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And again, I'm writing the plus 2. Here, guys, plus divided by a minus. The signs are different. They're being divided. They're unlike. So it's a minus and a minus 2. But again, the signs, guys, is what I'm looking for. In first year, I'm like going, I don't really care if you get the number wrong. Just get the sign right from the start. That's the crucial bit. Here, guys, 2 signs are written together. So that's a double negative. These are being multiplied, so that becomes a plus. We have 3 plus 6. And I screwed that up. Oh, I'm so mortal. Oh, I know why. Yeah, that should be plus 9 there, guys. So I leave that in. I won't wipe out this slide. Here, guys, we have the same. I do this all the time, guys, so you'll get used to it. I always think I double check, but I'm so used to looking at my own stuff, I don't pay attention to the detail. So apologies. You'll get used to it. Here, guys, this bit looks confusing, but it's just our double negative again. Now I've got minus 2 plus 6. I hope this isn't screwed up. It should be 4. Yes, at least I managed that one. Good. So that, guys, is plus and minus. Hugely important, subtle, but hopefully with a little bit of practice, you'll get pretty confident. So now guys, have a go at these. Okay, and I'll finish up here. I think that's pretty much it. So pause the video here, guys, because I'm pretty sure the next video slide is blank. Write out your answers neatly. So I'll, in the test, be asking you for question 1.2, D, or B, or C, or F, or H. Just a little tip. Okay, folks, thank you very much for listening, and we'll join you for lecture 2.